no pun intended there. Look at you like, nope, I'm not touching that.
Good morning, and thank you for tuning into the Tatecast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just to notify you guys, our show name will be changed sometime in the future to the Andrew Tate podcast. Just wanted to let you guys know. But we've got a great show for you guys today. We'll be covering the NFL Super Bowl. Then we will be moving on to the Taylor Swift effect. And then after that, we will be talking about a ban on tackle football that was announced in California. And make sure you stick around for later in the show when we'll be diving into the oddities of the day. But before we start, I would like to ask you to like and follow the show. Also, we get a number of questions from the viewers that come in during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. The tips and donation link is streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. This puts your question at the top of the list so that I can see it, and it also just really helps the show. Good morning, Tate. How are you?
Good morning. All right, and then you announced the change of the show name.
Yes.
It's going to be the Andrew Tate Show by
Andrew
GSMC
Tate
Sports.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Show.
I was like, huh? We changed the name again?
Excuse me.
All right. So, as you know, I said I was a little tired today, and we were talking about the fact that I don't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And Faith sleeps like a Kodiak bear, who she sleeps and hibernates.
I do, really, honestly. I do.
And I'm so jealous of Faith.
Honestly, I think it's a genetic thing, because everybody on my dad's side of the family, we can just like go to sleep like nothing and then sleep for a really long time. So maybe that's it. I don't know, but everybody on my dad's side of the family can fall asleep in an instant. So I was born lucky.
So awesome. I have a buddy of mine, and he can go and go and go, and then close his eyes for 15 minutes, fall asleep, wake up, and he's ready to go the rest of the night. And I don't know how people do this. And I was telling Faith before this, I can take a sleeping pill and melatonin, fall asleep for an hour or two, and be wide awake.
No.
That's just my curse.
I can't. I sleep like a rock for every night usually.
And she was bragging about she had like 9-10 hours of sleep or something like that last night.
9.5 hours of sleep. I'm pretty proud of that.
Wow, that is nuts. I don't think I had 9.5 hours in the last 3 days combined.
Good Lord. No.
All right, what do we have, Miss Faith?
So we are just going to dive right into the Super Bowl, which will be happening 2 Sundays from now, I believe.
Yes.
The San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs will be playing on February 11th. And the 49ers and the Chiefs were actually at the Super Bowl together 4 years ago.
Yes.
And the coaches were the same. The general managers were the same. The only difference, I believe, is the 49ers quarterback, which is Brock Purdy.
He was running around at Iowa State back then.
So I guess the question is this Super Bowl going to be the same as it was 4 years ago?
I don't think it will be. It'll be, I think there's a big difference. It's weird. Okay, first off, let me start off by saying this. The last 6 years, I have done something that's been quite amazing, which is once the teams make the playoffs, I've been able to predict the playoffs every single game, 100% correct, all the way to the Super Bowl, and then not counting this year. And then, and then when it comes to the Super Bowl, I have picked the last 6 Super Bowls absolutely wrong, missed them
Mm-hmm.
all. So fast forward to this year, I have missed almost every single playoff game. Nothing right. I got the 49ers beating the Lions, and that's the only thing I got right. So I'm hoping that it means I picked the Super Bowl this year. So okay. So now when I look at this game, as a person that did not have Kansas City making it, I had them losing to Buffalo right out the gate. So I couldn't even fathom having them even anywhere close to the Super Bowl this year. And I know that sounds crazy when you're looking at them as the defending champions. I didn't think no way could they get past Buffalo. If they got past Buffalo, there was no way they were going to beat the Ravens. So my mind was never leaning toward Kansas City. I thought their passing game was incredibly weak. Offensively, they weren't the same. Kelsey was not the same. I knew they had a solid defense. But once the playoffs got here, they became a different team.
Mm-hmm.
The receivers they stopped dropping balls. They started getting over, making big plays. Travis Kelsey was like, "Hey, it's game time," and Kelsey has been in the playoffs just as good as he's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. I mean, what do you say about Patrick Mahomes? Absolutely amazing. And that defense, which was one of the 3 or 4 best defenses in the NFL, has the Kansas City's defense has gone to in my opinion the best defense in the NFL. So looking at Kansas City and how since the playoffs it's kind of like championship teams kind of rise to the occasion, and I think that's exactly what they did. Their momentum is going that direction, and they're strong. Now I look at the 49ers, and going into the playoffs, you look at the 49ers, and it's crazy to say this, but I had the Cowboys making it out of the NFC. That's just with the way things have been going with the Cowboys, that's just absolutely foolish to pick the Cowboys. As much as I'm a
Mm-hmm.
Cowboy fan, it's disappointment after disappointment, year after year after year. But when you look at the 49ers and you start looking at everything they have, you got a solid running game, maybe the best running game in the NFL with Christian McCaffrey. You have Samuels, which is a running back receiver hybrid, which has been unreal. Uh, the receiving core, the tight end, Brock Purdy's playing phenomenal. The defense is phenomenal. The 49ers are one of the most complete teams in Super Bowl history, from top to bottom, the coaching staff, the general manager, top to bottom organization. Both of these, I mean, the 49ers have just been absolutely stellar. So then, considering I did not have the Kansas City Chiefs even making the Super Bowl, now comparing these two and who am I taking to win, I start looking at the 49ers versus Green Bay first game. And 49ers look vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
When they went in there against Detroit owned them the
Mm-hmm.
entire game. They just owned them the entire game. And if it wasn't for, in my opinion, bad coaching decisions, the 49ers are not even in the Super Bowl. And so when I start looking at it and I look at Kansas City, who has been since the playoffs started, has been building momentum and getting stronger and stronger and peaking at the right time. I feel like the 49ers have just done just barely enough to get to the Super Bowl. And when you start mixing these two teams together, and I say being able to run on the 49ers, being able to pass on the 49ers, that Kansas City defense, the pressure they can put on Brock Purdy, I'm looking at it and I'm saying I'm taking Kansas City. I just think the defense is the key. I think Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey, the running game is enough that they can kind of pull out kind of the way that what they did with the Ravens. Keep the game close down the stretch, depend on their playmakers to make it. And I think if you can put pressure on Brock Purdy, frustrate him, make him make a couple of mistakes, I think that's enough. And so I'm leaning toward the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this is an early prediction, Faith.
Yeah.
Lots of things can happen between now and next Sunday. So, let me hear your thoughts about what I've said and what you're thinking.
I honestly agree. I really think it's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. Just like based upon the fact of how the 49ers have played in their past two games. Like
Yes,
they
they're very vulnerable.
they barely scraped by with the Packers and the Lions and just kind of barely made it into the Super Bowl. And so I also have Kansas City Chiefs down as my pick as well. Just honestly based upon the fact of how defense was with the Ravens. I
Oh,
mean,
the Kansas City's defense has been unreal.
yeah, but I think the Ravens defense was number 1 and Kansas City Chiefs was number 3 or 2, I believe.
Something like they're both
Yeah.
the top four defenses, yes.
And I mean, they absolutely just dominated with defense on Sunday. So I honestly think the Chiefs will win as well. That's my
And
opinion.
it's kind of like what you're saying, and I agree with you on this fact that when you start looking at in the Super Bowl, you have Andy Reid, who has been a master. So is Shanahan. You got two unbelievable uh coaches. But if you're gonna give Andy Reid 2 weeks to get ready with that defense, which it means 2 weeks to get healthy, 2 weeks to scheme, I think that defense could be even more impressive if they're able to put the pressure on Brock Purdy. And I'm going to tell you this right now. If they start out slow like they did with
It's going to
Detroit
be a
Lions,
blowout.
oh, exactly. You're not going to go down 17 points to
Mm-mm.
Kansas City and think you're going to get out of there.
No.
If you get down and you're rolling into midway to third quarter and you look around and you're 17 down to Kansas City, that defense will not allow it. Unlike Detroit, who was giving up over 300 yards a game, Kansas City's not going to do that.
Mm-mm.
Kansas City's not going to give up uh, go on a 17-point swing the opposite direction. They're just too stellar, too stout. But then saying the same thing, San Francisco's defense is it's a very tough defense as well. The difference is, yes, if you put pressure on Patrick Mahomes doesn't fold. I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
guy is second to none. And when I say second to none, I really mean second to none. In the years that he's played, he's only 28. And in my opinion, I've already put him at the top, as far as best quarterback, NFL history. I give it to Patrick Mahomes right now. Best career ever, I still give it to Tom Brady. But you can't I don't see, no matter how strong, no matter how stout San Francisco's defense is going to be, I don't think you can shake Patrick Mahomes, but I definitely think you can shake Brock Purdy.
Mm-hmm.
Brock Purdy, if you shake him, you can get him to make mistakes. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, and I mean, just with like Patrick Mahomes' track record too. I mean, he's gone to the championship games 6 times in the past 6 years, I believe, and he's gone to the
Let's
Super
call it the
Bowl.
Patrick Mahomes Invitational. It's like
Yeah.
it's weird because it is so hard to make a Super Bowl. The Cardinals have been around forever. The Detroit Lions been there around forever. The Cleveland Browns forever, and they've never been to a Super Bowl. The Cowboys haven't been to the Super Bowl going on almost 30 years. It is hard, but there's a whole generation that doesn't look at the Super Bowl as hard because in your lifetime, Faith, it's been every year. It's either Tom Brady, and if when you didn't have Tom Brady, you had Peyton Manning, or now you have Patrick Mahomes, and it's like same bat channel, same bat time. It's consistently, you're used to seeing these guys go and make it to the Super Bowl. It is incredibly hard to make it to the Super Bowl. And so, I mean, but Patrick Mahomes has made it just easy. It just seems easy. Even the worst year ever for Patrick Mahomes, they're AFC champions. They're in the Super Bowl, and they have a real shot. I'm picking them to not only they've already made it, but to win the Super Bowl. Now, granted, I already told you my history, and that I have not picked the Super Bowl champion. So do not put your car up. Do not put your house up. Because if you're taking my picks, Super Bowl picks, hasn't been good. Everything else, money in the bank.
Well, I guess we'll just have to see but I really think it's going to be the Chiefs. No doubt.
One other question before we wrap this up, Dave. Are you picking the Chiefs because you're still bitter about the Detroit Lions game?
That does have something to do with it too. Honestly, I really have beef with the 49ers now, like heavy beef with the 49ers. So that is part of the reason. But no, I just think the Kansas City Chiefs are a better team. That's my opinion.
I'm with you. I'm just with you. I'm done. I'm done picking against Patrick Mahomes. I mean, if it anything to do with Patrick Mahomes, St. Patrick's Day, anything, I'm not betting against it anymore. I've seen the light.
Yeah.
I'm putting money in the collection plate. I am a Patrick Mahomes disciple. That's it. I'm done going against them.
You heard it here first.
Testify.
Alrighty, guys. Well, with that, we are going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to be discussing the Taylor Swift effect.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were talking about the Super Bowl in our picks for that. And now we're going to be diving into the Taylor Swift effect. But before we do that, I just wanted to remind you that if you are enjoying the show and you want to send us a comment, you can do that at streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. It puts your question at the top of the list, and it also just really helps the show. But let's dive into the topic that seems to be one of the very controversial topics.
Yes,
touchy topic of the year, honestly. It's
I don't know why it's such a big deal, but it is a major deal.
Alrighty, so could Taylor Swift move the needles on the already massive Super Bowl ratings? Last year's Super Bowl brought in 115 million viewers. That has been the highest since 2014. And it's still up in the air whether or not Taylor Swift is going to be there, because Taylor Swift is still working on her Eras tour, and she will be in Tokyo until February 10th. So people are wondering if she's going to even be able to make it to the Super Bowl.
She'll be able to. I think she'll make it.
Yeah, I do as well. But honestly, just about everything Taylor Swift goes nears. Just about everything Swift goes near experiences a consumption boost, from donuts in Kansas City to hotels in Philadelphia. Her televised appearance at the Chiefs game led to a 400% sales hike in Fanatics Kelsey jerseys on a single day, and an additional 2 million female viewers for Sunday Night Football in early October.
Crazy. Yes, I mean, pretty much. I don't get it. Okay. Here's a confession. I do not get the excitement over Taylor Swift. I think she's a very talented person.
Mm-hmm.
Once I used to work at a network, and this sounds so bad now, and she was coming to the office. She was coming to our office. She was going to be doing some interviews, and everyone's like, "Are you going to stick around to meet her?" And I'm like, "No, I'm going home." She's coming in late. No, I was the only one that didn't get a picture with her. I'm like, no, I'm good.
Wow.
Didn't meet her whatsoever. Now, with that being said, I'm also the foolish guy. Talk about getting in trouble with your significant other. My wife is the world's biggest Beatle fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at that same network, and Paul McCartney was coming in. And it was a whole meet and greet dinner and everything with Paul McCartney. And I told my wife when he comes in, I was going to bring her too, so she could meet him.
Mm-hmm.
And I just decided I went home instead. and so everyone is like, where are you at? Aren't you coming to dinner? And we're at a diner, like a diner in Elk Grove, California, eating at a greasy spoon instead of like having dinner with Paul McCartney. And I actually absolutely passed. And then I remembered that, I was supposed to take my wife instead. I took her to a greasy spoon instead. So it's not the first time that I've done this. I'm a fool.
That's goodness gracious, Tate.
So yes,
I would still be holding that over your head. Remember that time when you told me we were going to meet Paul McCartney?
I'm just not a celebrity guy. I don't get it. I've done, in my years of being in broadcast, I've been able to meet a number of different celebrities over the years, and I'm just not a celebrity guy. I'm just like, they're regular people. Now, bringing this right back around to Taylor Swift, people feel incredibly strong about, they're upset every time they show her she's cheering for her boyfriend.
Yeah.
It's crazy how some people are excited and they have to go get Travis Kelsey's jersey, Jason Kelsey's jersey. They become big fans, so much so that economically they are changing the world's economy. I mean, not the world's economy, but the local economy because of what they're doing. They're moving the needle. She's moving the needle for the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
And so I think it's good. She's bringing brand new eyes to the game, to a game that is already massive. And the more women or more Swifties that come aboard that are fans of the NFL, I'm a fan of having them there. So even though I may not be the biggest celebrity guy, you cannot deny the effect that she has had on the NFL. And you were talking about Travis Kelsey's jersey increasing by 400%. Listen, that's a massive shift.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. We just got a comment from Niner Gang from YouTube. I'm assuming he's talking about Travis Kelsey, but he said they said he's a knight. Travis Kelsey, I guess.
He's a knight. Explain a little, go in a little bit deeper.
No, but I am not really a big Taylor Swift fan, and you know, that is a controversial thing to say, especially as a woman. I don't have anything against her. I don't have any beef, whatever. Like, props to her for making as much money as she's making. I mean, she's absolutely dominating the music industry right now.
But it's deserved. It absolutely, I admit it is absolutely deserved.
It has absolutely deserved. She's been at this since the early 2000s. She's been working really, really hard, and she's grown a really big fan base. And her fan base is one of the most supportive fan base I think I've ever seen, honestly. I just don't understand why people are getting so upset about it, because the more viewers means more money, and people who are a fan of the NFL should be supporting it, because they're getting more money based on the views that they're getting.
It's bringing more money. It's bringing better attention. It's the NFL. The Super Bowl is the ultimate casual viewer event. Everyone tunes into the Super Bowl. As a matter of fact, my buddy Alex, he lives in Germany. He lives in, I don't remember the town, but it's what is considered the old East Germany. One of my best friends. He came in yesterday and he was like, that football was on in Germany on Sunday, and they watched Kansas City and the Ravens game. Do you understand? They watched in Germany, not the German village in, some town in America. This is in Germany. They are watching the Kansas City Chiefs play the Baltimore Ravens. They're going to watch the Super Bowl in Germany. We're going to watch the Super Bowl. I'm in the Algarve in Portugal, in southern Portugal, and I'm going to watch the Super Bowl. The NFL is a global, the Super Bowl is a global event, and Taylor Swift is a global icon.
Yeah.
And they go hand in hand. I have a question, if you want to comment on this, and then I have a question for you.
Yeah. Go ahead with your question.
Okay. Okay. It's a cage match. A WWE cage match. You have 2 or 3 participants. You lock them in a cage, and only one can come out.
Okay.
Who's bigger? Taylor Swift,
Mm.
Beyonce, Rihanna.
That is. I feel like I'm going to get berated on the internet no matter how I answer this question.
This is why it's better that I send that to you than me. Those who ask the question do not have to answer it.
Okay. So Rihanna, love Rihanna. I'm a big Rihanna fan. And I loved her performance at the Super Bowl last year. But Rihanna has not made like a new album in a while.
Wait. I'm already like you're making like serious political conversation or something. I'm like, ooh, Faith, be careful.
No, I love all three of them. But Rihanna, I feel like would be the first to go, because
okay,
she hasn't done a lot lately. I mean, she has a makeup line, but she hasn't really made any music in a while, and she's focusing more on like her family now because she's had a couple babies. So,
okay.
So really, it would just be like a head-to-head thing against, Beyonce and Taylor Swift, and oh gosh.
All right, before you make your answer, I'm gonna say I got a couple of things to add to make you think about this.
Okay.
Taylor Swift's concert tour has made over $1 billion. Mm-hmm. It's the biggest concert tour, I think, in history. Mm-hmm. I think Beyonce's next concert tour is going to break Taylor Swift's record. You're talking about the two biggest concert tours maybe in the history of the world. Mm-hmm. That's how close they are.
Mm-hmm. We just got Niner Gang added. He said Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time too. So
Niner Gang, I dig you, my man. You're welcome. You're welcome to ask questions on this show anytime you want. Changing the show to Niner Gang and Tate.
So, I mean, I think you'd have to give it to Beyonce. Beyonce is...
See, I just swayed you by even talking to Niner Gang. You're flip-flopping now.
It's not that I'm swaying. It's just Beyonce has a longer track record than Taylor Swift does. I mean, Beyonce started out in Destiny's Child and then did her solo career, and she also has a really, really big fan base. So Taylor Swift has just been doing her Eras tour for like a hot minute. And that Eras tour is huge. Huge. And she also was getting a lot of money from like redoing her albums as well, because of the whole thing with like separation of her manager and her not having any credit for her earlier albums. So she also remade her albums and called them Taylor's version, and so she was getting a lot of stuff from that as well. So, but head to head, Beyonce or Taylor Swift, I think I would say Beyonce. But
all right, let me give you my take. Please don't come and attack me after saying that. Wow, you heard it. Don't forget to send your love to Faith a little later on. Okay, here's my take. Mm-hmm. The Eras tour is unreal, and my NFL MVP, my Lamar Jackson is right now is Taylor Swift. Right now, she's hot. She's on fire. She's my league MVP. Mm-hmm. Beyonce is my Patrick Mahomes.
Good way to tie that into football.
Hey, I gotta tie this. I've been doing this a long time. This is a sports show, but informative as well. So, Taylor Swift is my league MVP. My Patrick Mahomes is Beyonce. And I'm Rihanna.
I love her.
Yeah, Rihanna's awesome. She's my Josh Allen. She's She can come out there and light the world on fire anytime she wants, but there can only be two teams in the Super Bowl. See, that's how you diplomatically do it without doing it.
I guess I'll have to take some lessons. All righty, guys. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we will be talking about the bill that is trying to be proposed in California on banning tackle football for children under the age of 12. So stick around. Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were discussing the Taylor Swift effect and somehow got on the subject of Beyonce and Rihanna as well. Now we're going to be diving into a bill that has been introduced in California to ban tackle football for children under the age of 12. I don't exactly know when the bill was introduced, but earlier last week it was said that California's Governor Gavin Newsom said he would turn down the bill whenever it came to his desk. The proposal, which has gradually banned tackle football for children under the age of 12 by 2029, cleared a legislative committee last week and was poised for a vote in the state assembly before the end of the month. But even if the bill were passed, Newsom's pledge not to sign it means there is little, if any, chance of it becoming a law this year. While California lawmakers have the power to override a veto, they have not done that in more than 4 decades. There is some California has already made some regulations with youth tackle football. Newsom signed a law that took effect in 2021, limiting teams to just 2 full contact practices per week of not more than 30 minutes each during the regular season. The law also required youth tackle football coaches to have training on concussions and other head injuries. So.
Okay. Now, I approach this, I'm torn with this one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm a guy that pretty much played tackle football from age 5
Mm-hmm.
to early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Late teens, early 20s. And loved it. And that was part of my fabric of who I've been over the years. And then you look at football and the way it's broken down and you look at weight division, by divisions. It's traditionally Pee-wee. I mean, there's tiny mites, which are ages 5, 6, and 7, under 89 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's another division, like the Mighty Mites, which is age 7, 8, and 9. And I just had to look this up because I didn't know this off the top of my head, but I knew the divisions, which is 140 pounds and under.
Mm-hmm.
Junior Pee Wee, 8, 9, 10, 11, 120, 129 pounds, 109 to 129 pounds, and then Pee Wee, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So I'm a product of that system.
Mm-hmm.
Played it for years, and some of my best experiences was playing Pee Wee football, and never really. I don't ever remember a really tough hit
Yeah.
at all. But as you know, growing up in a different era where no one thought about concussions
Mm-hmm.
and brain trauma. A brain is a brain, and brain trauma, it is showing that it has had an effect on
Right.
people.
Mm-hmm.
What has really brought attention to my eyes is how many NFL players are like, no, my kid is not playing football,
Mm-hmm.
or no, my kid will not play tackle football until they get to high school.
Mm-hmm.
And that one is the big one, is how many football players that I've seen, professional football players that I have seen, that has taken an approach that, nope, my kid will play flag football
Mm-hmm.
up until you get to high school age.
Mm-hmm.
And which tends to make, that's how the times have changed.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, the game has changed so much. And you look at so many players that have died early or has had major mental issues. And I think about Junior Seau, who committed suicide. And I mean, not to bring in such a tough situation, and finding out about the CTE with him. CTE is a real thing, and it really does affect a lot of people, and it goes undiagnosed, because you can't figure out what happens until after someone has died, until you figure this out. And you look at, everyone thinks about the NFL, but one out of thousands of people actually make it to the NFL. But there are millions of kids who play football around the country, around the United States, that are like me. Started playing when I was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. By the time you're 18, some of these kids have played Pee Wee football for 13 years.
Yeah.
And now you start looking at, okay, what the effects of concussions have on a kid for 13 years, making it so you can still enjoy the game, but maybe doing away with the Mighty Mites and the Pee Wee games, so that, especially when kids are developing, kids develop, the biggest point in time where they're developing is from infancy till about 13, 14. So if you think about it, and you look at the way a lot of these NFL players are saying, is like, not until they get to high school. Well, you don't get to high school. You're what? You're 15 when you get to high school?
Mm-hmm.
That age 5 to 15, that's a 10-year period where, hey, you can play flag football, but maybe not take these hits. Maybe that's helping kids. So I can see why they're doing it. There's just not enough evidence. There's just not enough studies, and there's no way to study this. Right now, with present technology, there is no way to determine what happens to a kid who's been playing Pee Wee football from age 5 to 18, and what has happened to their brain. I would love to see a study that shows, hey, kids, does it show like kids, their grades, their functionality of how they're functioning as an adult has been affected by playing it? There's nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a safety precaution that is being proposed, but there's no real hardcore evidence that I have seen. I haven't seen everything.
Right.
Uh, but I don't see anything that has been put where there's been this extended study of the effect of Pee Wee football. So when you look at the situation where football is sewn into the fabric of America,
Mm-hmm.
nothing says America more. Everyone talks about the old saying, baseball, hot dogs, and apple pie is America. No, the hell it's not. It's football.
Mm-hmm.
Football comes first and then everything else.
Yeah.
And so I think there should be multiple studies. Our government should be stepping in and doing these research to see what is happening
Mm-hmm.
to kids. But I understand why it's there. And sometimes, do you think it's better to veer on the side of being safe, or do you say, hey, football's always been a part of our society? What do you say, Faith?
Um,
A little heavier than our normal conversations,
yeah.
isn't
In my
it?
opinion, I think it should be the parents' decision. The parents can decide whether or not they want their kid playing tackle football. Um, a bill be introduced? I don't know. Because then what if there are kids that like do want to play and their parents also want them to play tackle football, and then they just can't up until they're 12, you know?
I'm going to tell
But
you this. Okay, go ahead. I'll let you
sorry.
finish this.
Niner Gang commented, "It's not like these are strong, speedy athletes. They're kids. They'll be fine playing. It
Hmm.
builds character, social skills, and teamwork."
What's his
So,
name again? What was
Niner
his
Gang.
Niner Gang. Okay, Niner Gang. I kind of feel the way you feel. I'm a product of Pee Wee football,
Mm-hmm.
and the big massive hit just doesn't happen at that age.
No, I don't
I've
think
been
so as well.
I've been hit harder, just wrestling in the backyard as a little kid, or
Mm-hmm.
jumping a ramp and flipping over my bike, something like that. So I kind of understand where Niner Gang is coming from and agree with him.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Also, if you are a kid who's a talented kid, and in one state you can't play tackle football until you're 15, 16 years old, I'm going to tell you that kid that just starting out football at 15, 16 is going to have a heck of a lot harder time
Mm-hmm.
making it to not the pros, making it to college,
Mm-hmm.
uh, than the kid who's been playing pee wee, middle school football, and then getting to college. That kid is going to be behind.
Right.
And in the world of name, image, and likeness, where if you're a football player, you're making real money. If you're a college football star quarterback, you're making $500,000 to $1 million a year playing football. It can be life-changing money nowadays in the college world. It's not like the
Mm-hmm.
NFL where it was like one in 10,000 people make it to the NFL. Lots of people make it to college. And the opportunity to play football, get an education, make a little money. If you're the kid that grew up in the trailer park or on the street or a poor family, now football is a gateway to making money, to getting an education, starting a career, and just saying, hey, just because you live in California or Colorado or somewhere else, you don't have the same opportunities. And like he was just saying in his comments, especially when you're talking Pee Wee. If you've ever seen a Pee Wee game, it's the cutest thing. I mean, those little kids are running around. You can watch little kids soccer games get harder hit than you can in a Pee Wee football game a lot
Yeah,
of
I was
times.
I was gonna add that football's not the only like heavy contact sport. So, you know, if they decide to ban tackle football for children under the age of 12, does that mean other sports are going to have bans on them as well until a certain age?
Yeah, right. And I was going to say the same thing. I agree. If you're going to go to California and say, hey, tackle football, then you've opened up Pandora's box. And who's to say a kid that's doing boxing? You know how many little kids take karate classes?
Yeah.
And the things that as a kid growing up, there's always, you can't wrap everyone in bubble wraps. Part of being a kid, and just like Niner Game was saying, organized sports teaches kids a lot more than just sports. Mm-hmm. It teaches them how to deal with other people, how to work as a team, how to think as a group and work as a group. Football does a lot of good. Organized sports do a lot of good in shaping young Americans. And so I'm a product of that. And I think it's really does more good than harm. And I think ultimately, I agree, it is not as dangerous for especially little kids as one would think. So, I love your comment, my friend. Thank you for contributing, because I liked hearing what you had to say.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate the comments. It's our first comment. Alrighty, well, with that, we are going to take a quick little break, and when we come back, we'll dive into our oddities of the day.
Okay, I'm curious. I have no clue what's coming up, so let's do this.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier we were discussing the ban on tackle football for children under the age of 12, and now we're going to dive into our oddities of the day. But before we do that, I just wanted to remind you one more time that in the future, the name of the podcast will be changed from the Tatecast by GSMC Sports to the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports. So just keep a lookout for that. It's still the same show. It's still the same people. We're just doing a name change. All right.
And I'll just elaborate just a little bit. We've been planning this show for quite a while. Actually, it's been 3 years in the making, working on the show. Mm-hmm. And our team did all this research to make sure what names were available. And when we started doing the research, Tatecast came up as a clean name. Mm-hmm. Fast forward 2-3 years later, and we launched Tatecast and find out that there's another Tatecast out there. And so it's only right to change the name of the show because someone, even though we started this and started doing the research on this a long time ago, they beat us to go in the air. And so we're just changing the name because of that.
Darn. Alrighty. Well, let's dive into our oddities of the day. This one is really funny.
You hesitated right out the gate, so I'm like, whoa, okay, I'm bracing myself.
Okay, this happened about a month back. One unlucky husband made the blunder to end all blunders by forgetting his wife and driving off into the night on Christmas Day. To make matters worse, the husband failed to notice his wife's absence for 100 miles, forcing her to walk miles after being stranded. So in the husband's defense, he believed that his wife was in the back seat sleeping. This happened in Thailand in the early hours of Christmas.
Wait. Okay. Were they Americans traveling to Thailand, or are they in Thailand?
I think they are in Thailand. They're
okay.
Yeah. Him and his wife were driving through the night to her hometown in the province of Sarakam. I don't think I pronounced that right. Excuse me. Just like with any road trip, occasionally nature calls, and the husband had to pull over to go to the bathroom at around 3 a.m. After he stepped out of the car, his wife decided that she too would take a bathroom break and got out of the car to enter a nearby jungle to relieve herself. When she returned, she found the car was missing and her husband was nowhere to be seen. Even worse for her, she had left her phone in the car and had no money on her. And she had no choice but to trek 13 miles in the middle of the night into a city nearby. At about 5 in the morning, she found a police station and pleaded with the police to help her find her husband. And hold on, it gets worse. To make matters worse, she did not know her husband's phone number by heart.
Oh, I thought you were going to say she didn't know her husband's name. I was going to say,
No.
what? Oh, hell no.
That would have been hilarious. She didn't know her husband's phone number by heart and called her own phone 20 times to no avail. She explained to the police that the pair had been on good terms and there was no reason to believe her husband drove off without her intentionally. When her husband realized this error, he was 100 miles away and had to retrace his steps to figure out at what point they could have separated.
Okay, wait a minute. We got things to rewind here. Okay, first off, I'm a little confused when he said he stopped to relieve himself. Mm-hmm. And she decided to do the same in a nearby jungle. That's the words you just said. She went to, I'm picturing
this
like,
Thailand.
Hey, we're going to the local 7-Eleven, the McDonald's, wow. We stop off at Buc-ee's. We're gonna stop off at Buc-ee's. We're gonna get some pirate booty, and we're gonna and I'm gonna go, and I'm thinking she got left off at a local Buc-ee's. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. She went into the jungle with Mufasa and the gang to take care of some business, and then you make it back you come out of the jungle, and the hubby has dropped he's put the pedal to the metal, and he's like, deuces, I'm out.
Niner Gang just sent us another comment. He says, how did you not notice for 100 miles? In my opinion, I think he's lying.
He's like, listen,
I think
Niner Gang, you are my man, Niner Gang.
100 miles. I believe 100 miles is like, driving on the interstate 100 miles is like 2 hours. So,
whoa. No,
2 hours. No.
You are thinking like an American. Okay, let me explain something to you.
Sorry.
I live in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Holy sugar honey iced tea. I was used to driving in California. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing my 85 on the highway, and everything is cool. And great old ladies are blowing the doors off my car. Zoom, zoom. Everyone is, if you're not doing 100, you might as well just stay in the slow lane, because everyone does 100.
I don't drive that fast on the interstate.
Oh, no. That's because you're an American. And if you're German or something else, they're doing 130, 140, 150 every single day on the highway. They're hauling butt on the highway. Americans are like, I'm doing 65 and 70, and you think you're doing something. I've learned this from living in Europe the last few years. Everyone is doing 100. So I'm just going to take what I've learned since moving from America to Europe, and now I'm moving it on to Thailand. And if they're driving anything, let's say he has a lead foot and he's doing 130, 140, 150. It's a little different. That's double the speed of what you're used to driving.
Well, you do have to think about, I know in like smaller like Asian provinces, the roads are like really, really small and only like one car can fit at them in a time. So if you're going 130 miles on a road,
no, these are major highways.
I don't think.
You know what? It's perspective, because you're picturing them like, maybe I'm laying out American and European views, because you're thinking like a 1-lane road. I'm thinking like they're in the middle of the jungle, so it's just wide open highway, and they're just zoom. That's what I'm thinking.
Anyway, for 100 miles, you have to notice that she's not. I mean, she would shift, she would snore, she would do something if she was in the back seat asleep. I'm sorry, but I don't believe him.
Okay, here's my next thing I was thinking. Let's say this is true. You've been hauling butt down the highway, and you look back and she's not back there. You're like, oh hell, there's gonna be hell to pay. Dude, is there a split second in your mind like, do I just keep on going? Do you just be like, I'm not
the
going to take
answer is no, you do not keep going. Do not listen to Tate. Do not listen to him.
What? Somehow I left her. She's gonna kill me. She's gonna kill me. Do you just keep flying, just like no. Thelma and Louise, just say, just because you have no clue when you lost her. Because that's what he was saying. Your phone haven't ring. You have no clue where she's at. You're in Thailand. There's no Amber Alert. There's nothing out there.
Niner Gang added, he said, this would make a good math question. How long till they met? 13 miles on foot, 200 miles in a car.
Niner Gang, you are the man, dude. I'm loving you. This is the new ACT test right there. You are a man driving on a road in Thailand. You've driven 100 miles and you realize you've left your girl in the jungle.
What do you do?
How far back have you gone?
I feel like this would be like, I don't know if you've seen this stuff on like TikTok with girls asking their boyfriend like, would you still love me if I was a worm? I feel like that's
what? No. We're seeing would I still love you if you turned into a worm? No. We should see other people. That is my answer.
Okay. Well, I feel like this would be kind of on the same line, because you could like ask your partner like, what happened if you like left me and just were 100 miles away from me? Would you turn back and come get me, or would you just keep going?
You have to turn around, I guess. But there's consequences and repercussions that's happening.
I bet he learned his lesson though. I feel like he probably checks the back seat every 5 seconds when he's in the car now. And she probably learned her lesson not to sleep in the back seat of the car. The front seats recline.
Oh hell no. I'm thinking like, okay, this tells you what kind of wife you have. If when you pull up to that police station, let's say they finally find him. Let's say I'm assuming they found each other, and you pull up at that police station. If she runs out and hugs you, or you run up and hug her, there's love in that relationship. But if she hits you with that 3-piece hot and spicy because you left her, ooh.
What about a little bit of both? What about a little bit of both?
Which one are you, Faith?
I would be pretty upset if you left me and didn't realize I wasn't in the car for 100 miles. I mean, and then I had to turn around to try to figure out where you left me at. I mean, think about it. He could have left her even further than that if he made a stop before that.
You know what, though? This has happened. I've heard this happening where people, didn't realize. Someone left their kids one time. Same kind of situation. They were getting gas and then they took off and thought the kids were in the back seat. It has happened.
I know it happens, but
100
miles? I'm sorry.
Okay, first off, Faith, we're on our world tour. It's me and you. We're in our Okay. And first off, this could happen because one of the things I've been tossing around is getting a place in Southeast Asia, leaning more toward Vietnam or Thailand, just getting like a little, like a winter home there where you just go stay a couple of months, come back to Europe, go back to the US and bounce between those three. That's been something I have been tossing around with, and we're planning on going to Thailand and Vietnam this year. But in defense, we're driving down the road on our world tour, headed to Hanoi, somewhere, Da Nang, somewhere like that. And I get out on the side of the road, and you decide you're going to be Mr. Demure. So you're going into the jungle for a little more privacy. And I jump in the car and I take off. I'm thinking you're asleep back there. First off, I'm not thinking like, hey, Faith decided to go into the jungle. If you're not around the car, I'm thinking Faith's in the car. There's no way someone's gonna go into the jungle. That's the one.
That would be the same as like pulling over the side of the road and going into the woods. That's the
no,
same.
the hell it's not. No, the hell it is not. Wait. We're in Ohio. We're in Georgia. We pull aside and you go into the bushes. It's different than we're going in. She went into the jungle.
Okay, well, realistically, for this scenario, I don't use the bathroom unless I have a bathroom. I don't go out in the woods or in the jungle and relieve myself off on the side of the road. I don't do that. So.
Faith, I'm just going to let you know. If I leave you on the side of the jungle and I've traveled 100 miles, I'm texting Niner Gang. That's my new show host.
Tate is just like, well, it is what it is.
Deuces.
My gosh.
I'm joking. You're irreplaceable, Faith. I promise you.
Tate's just like, well, it is what it is, but the show must go on. So.
Man, she was awesome. I'm gonna miss her. Let's put the music.
Leave me out to die in the jungle.
Turn my Taylor Swift on and keep hauling butt down the highway.
Taylor Swift and Beyonce.
Well, no, perfect, because Taylor Swift music is more breakup music.
Some of it is, yeah.
I'm just joking.
All right. Well, now you guys know that if Tate leaves me on the side of the road, he's just going to replace me in a second.
So keep your comments coming, because you could be the next show host.
Okay, well... with that,
you're irreplaceable, Faith. I just want you to know that.
Thank you. With that, we're gonna close out the show. So thank you for tuning into the Tatecast presented by GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Thank you once again. Have a wonderful day. And I might see you tomorrow.
Wow.
Alrighty, guys.
Good
See
night.
ya.